Let's talk today about taking a break. Now, I have not posted a video to YouTube for about 2.5 weeks now. Essentially, I took a break from YouTube. We had school starting for my son. We had work. It has been absolutely nuts. And to be quite honest with you, I've been a little down on the whole YouTube thing. And admittedly, taking a break is something that definitely hurts you. However, it seems that my Raiders kind of feel the same way. A lot of my guys, and I've mentioned this before, this whole spiel, I've mentioned to you guys before, but my Raiders feel burnout, right? The grindy-esque nature of Battle for Azeroth, whether it be the Heart of Azeroth, whether it be chasing that Titan Forge, whether it be, trying to get a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that never-ending grind that really is killing the game for a lot of players. And it doesn't help that there are long periods of downtime where we are simply in a raid tier for much longer than we were used to in Legion. We're talking, this magical 77-day number in Legion that has absolutely extended for Battle for Azeroth. And then the fact that Classic has come out and this is a whole nother video that we're going to do on this, but the fact that there is a huge disparity in game design choices, character customization on both ends for both Battle for Azeroth and Classic World of Warcraft. So a lot of my Raiders, as I've mentioned, have decided that they want to take breaks. Now, this puts me as a guild leader, as a raid leader, in a very precarious situation, because I have essentially lost about half of my raid group. And I've mentioned before, at the beginning of Uldir, we had about 26, 27 players. We are down now to in the 7 to 8 number. A lot of these guys, simply weren't able to raid, weren't interested in keeping up. Some of them found better guilds. Some of them found guilds that are, a little bit more their speed, a little bit slower. Totally fine. Nothing wrong with either one of these. But it left us with about a solid, I would say, 16 to 18 players that we could pull from to make a raid. And that meant for the Battle for Dazar'alor, I had to think of it for a second, that we were able to clear Mythic content. Very happy about that, at least a little bit. However, burnout, etc., now we find ourselves in a pickle. So what I want to talk to you guys about today as raid leaders, as guild leaders, is what do you do in this situation? There are two fairly easy, fairly simplistic really choices that you can make, and both are in complete opposite directions. Now, the easiest, probably the worst, but the easiest choice that you can make is to either take a break and say, hey, look, I know everybody's burnt out. We're clearing content, on X difficulty, and I know that people don't want to log in anymore. We have Final Fantasy 14, which apparently is great. We have Classic WoW. We have all these other games. It's summertime, all these things. Let's take a break from raiding. Or let's stop raiding altogether. Let's not even worry about it. Now, that's one direction that you can go to. The concern that when me and my solo officer discussed this was, what if people don't come back? What if we say, hey, let's take a break. Let's not raid anymore. We've done it before. We did it in Uldir. We did it in Dazar'alor. What happens if we do it a third time? And the concern here is that people don't show back up. That come, whatever the next raid tier is, that people don't come back. And that has been confirmed by some of my raiders who said, look, I love raiding with you guys. I want to continue raiding with you guys. But if we're going to continue to stop raiding, I want to find a guild that is going to push harder content. And this is coming from a couple of my raiders that have been with the guild for a very long time. Completely understand where they're coming from and completely agree with the sentiment. Okay? Dogs are going crazy in the next room. So we can turn the other way, do a complete 180, and we can say, no, we're not going to take a break. We're going to, not stop raiding. Instead, we're going to do the opposite. We are going to continue on. We're going to keep going. Now, what does this mean? This means that we're in a situation where we have 6, 7, 8 people that log in. Now, if we look at my raid group, we have, let's say 7 people. Okay. It might be 8. It might be 7. I can't remember. 2 tanks. We have a healer, 1 single healer, amazing healer. But when you're looking at a 10-man group, or, as the further you get into the Eternal Palace, the easier it is with more people. 15, 20 players is much easier for soaking things, for movement, etc., than 10. You find that you're going to need more healers, that 1 single healer may be able to keep up a group of 10 players on the first few bosses. Definitely not as you push through, to that, that middle spot of, boss 3 through like 6 or 7. So we have 1 single healer. We have 2 tanks. We have a mixture of DPS. Now, this puts us in a shitty position where we need, simply put, we need healers, we need DPSers. Where do we get these from? So right now, and this is my advice, because I feel that if I'm in this situation as a generic, I'm not a world first, raid leader or a guild or anything like that. I feel that there are a lot of players in this situation, a lot of guilds in this situation. Is as much of hatred in my heart as I have for this system. It's to rely on and to promote the community feature for World of Warcraft. So it came out with Battle for Azeroth. You guys know what the deal is, but it allows you to essentially build a community of players for whatever you're looking to do, right? PvP guild, raiding guild in my case. And from that, you can then kind of keep players on retainer, and then field out as you need people in your raid group. You can throw a line out there and say, hey, look, I need a couple of DPSers for, Eternal Palace tonight in about 30 minutes. Anybody interested? Now, the goal here is that, in my case, and hopefully you guys that are doing this as well, is to build that community. And it's going to take time. It's going to take patience is the big one. But that is what my guild, what I have decided, like I said, I discussed it with my singular officer. And that's what we've decided, is we're going to continue on. We're going to build this community. We're going to attempt, and it is very difficult, but we're going to attempt to continue to bring people into the game, meaning that we spam on the forums, whether it be the Reddit looking for group, looking for guild, the WoW server forums, whatever is it, the MMO champion forums. We spam Discord, all the class channels. They have, I think all of them, but I can't remember. There's one of them that doesn't have a recruitment channel, or maybe I'm just blind to it. But we're spamming in there, hey, we're looking for players, et cetera, et cetera. But it's one of those things that, as a leader, and I talked about this with you guys a while back, this idea of leadership traits and endurance, that no matter what, that you keep going. When shit is tough, when things are down, when you don't think that you can continue pushing on, that's when you as a leader need to realize that, I had 27 players, now I have 6, 7, 8 other players that are looking at me going, what are we going to do? I need help. So that's where we're at. And I think that that's where a lot of you guys are going to find yourselves. If you haven't already found yourselves in this position, that's my advice. That's my plan. Hopefully it works out. And if you are interested, my guild is recruiting. So let me know in the comment section down below. You guys know the deal. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.